Now, for the next video, we're going to actually bring it all together, are we not?
Exactly. I think we have gathered all the pieces of the puzzle, and now we have enough material to get the whole picture, the big picture of how the Islamic Quran was made.
Okay.
And what it is actually. We explain some very complex issues, and still there might be some confusion in the head of your audience. And I hope that this little comic strip will help them understand the big picture of how the Quran was made, the Islamic Quran was made.
Yeah.
So let me share my screen. And I want to start with the first step of this process, of the making process of the Islamic Quran. The first step was the Judeo-Nazarenes. They were the teachers of the Arab preachers. There were this very, very small Jewish current that believed that Jesus was the Messiah, but he was a political Messiah. And they believed that they could trigger his second return, his second coming on earth. And so they could trigger the apocalypse by conquering Jerusalem, rebuilding the temple, and restarting the sacrifices and Moses' religion there. Then they had a plan to do this. They wanted to make an alliance with their Arab Christians neighbors, and to benefit from their military help. In order to get them into the project, they took their sacred scriptures, their kitab in Arabic. The sacred scriptures, I think it was the Torah, it was maybe a bit of the Gospels, but it was it might have evolved in the Judeo-Nazarene context into a Judeo-Nazarene sacred scripture. They also had other scriptures, and they made an Arabic lectionary, a Quran, so in Arabic, out of those scriptures. And they wanted to present this Arabic lectionary to their Arab neighbors in order for them to join their project of the conquering Jerusalem and so on. And so this was the first step. The Judeo-Nazarene translated into Arabic some of their sacred scriptures, and they made an Arabic lectionary, an Arabic Quran. Then those Judeo-Nazarene taught some Arab preacher. We don't know whether there were one or several preachers. We have clues that tells us that maybe there were several preachers. The standard Islamic narrative, of course, tells us that there was only one, but it also tells us about false prophets, other prophets who prophesied something besides Muhammad. So maybe there were several preachers that were taught by the Judeo-Nazarenes. So they taught the Arab preacher about their kitab, their sacred scripture here, and they taught him the Arabic lectionary, the Arabic Quran. And together they made notes and instruction for proclamations and sermons. And the Arab preacher wrote notes, the Judeo-Nazarenes wrote notes, and in those notes, it was about the sacred scriptures of the Judeo-Nazarene, the Torah, the Gospel, and it was also about the Arabic lectionary, because the preacher, his main goal was to present the Arabic lectionary to an Arab audience. And this is what he did. With the Arabic lectionary, with his notes and drafts, and also with other notes, and with the help of the Judeo-Nazarenes, he addressed an Arab audience and told them what he had in his notes. He told them about the Kitab, which means the sacred scriptures, the Judeo-Nazarene sacred scriptures. He told them about the Arabic lectionary, the Quran, the Arabic Quran. And we see that in the Quranic text, sometimes he also addressed Jews, people of the book. But mostly he addressed an Arab audience. And we can gather from the Quranic text itself and also from other sources that this Arab audience was Christian at the time or had been Christianized, already Christianized. What happened then? When the Arab conquest took place, when Jerusalem was conquered, the Messiah did not come back. And so the Arab who took Jerusalem got rid of the Judeo-Nazarenes, got rid of their sacred scriptures, got rid of the Arabic lectionary, and got also rid of the Arab preachers because they failed. They failed at their project. They failed at having Jesus come back in Jerusalem. And so the Judeo-Nazarenes and their Aramaic texts and their Arabic text, which is the Arabic lectionary, were kind of eliminated around 640 up until the Umayyads. And what remained then? What remained was the Arabic notes and instructions for the proclamations, the former proclamation and the sermons. Those were the only Arabic texts that remained. And then someone, a caliph, or I don't know who exactly, someone had the idea to gather all those Arabic notes and instruction and to make a book out of it. And he made the first Arabic mushaf, the first Arabic book. It was not the Quran yet, not the Islamic Quran yet. It was a religious book in Arabic that was a sort of symbol for the Arab leaders of this time, a symbol that they also had religious writings, that they also were legitimate as the Christians and the Jews who already had religious writing. And you see that in this book, the book talks about the Kitab as being the Judeo-Nazarene scriptures, and it talks about the Quran as being the Arabic lectionary. And thereafter, when Islam emerged as a religion, the Arabic mushaf was made into an Islamic Quran. It was kind of the same book. Some corrections were made, some interpolations were made, but the major change was that the Kitab was now identified as the Islamic Quran itself, and the Arabic lectionary was now identified as the Islamic Quran itself, leading to a big confusion in the text and leading to the difficulty we have nowadays to identify what the Quran means in the Islamic Quran, what the Kitab means in the Islamic Quran. Because the Quranic text, Kitab and Quran words, became understood as the Islamic Quran. And now you get the whole picture, the whole process of the making of the standard Islamic narrative Quran. This is how I think the Islamic Quran was made, out of the sacred scripture from the Jewish, from the Judeo-Nazarene, made into an Arabic lectionary, made into notes and instructions for proclamation and sermons. Those notes and instructions were made into a book, and because of this book speaks about a Quran and a Kitab. And when Islam was made, the sacred scriptures and the Arabic lectionary, the Quran, were given the same sense as the Islamic Quran. And so we have nowadays, what the standard Islamic narrative tells us about a very strange book, the Islamic Quran, which talks about himself as a book. There is when you look at the Quran according to the standard Islamic narrative, the Quran talks about himself as a book being already done, being already finished, as he talks himself as being a kitab. He talks about the Muslim as being the people of the kitab, the people of the book. And it is very confusing. And I think it is one of the reasons that the scholars, the academic scholars, have had such a difficulty understanding the Quran because of the confusion, because of this genius idea of the one who made the Islamic Quran to transform the Arabic lectionary into the Islamic Quran and the sacred scriptures into the Islamic Quran. So this is my sort of comic strip explaining the making of the Quran. I hope it is clear enough for your audience. But Jay, as you know, I will be very happy to answer any question in the comments and to answer any of your questions.
Well, no, this is excellent. In fact, just leave it on this because this is just so that people can see rather than taking off the screen. This is good just to leave it there. And I think you've done a wholesale summation of everything you've done up on the Quran in just one page. So I would suggest that people take this that they're looking at right now, grab it off the screen, print it off, memorize the 6 steps. It's 6 steps that Odon has done here. It's like a meme. This is like a cheat sheet, a crib sheet. And Muslims also look at this. Can you then understand why so much of the confusion of all these phrases, all of these references, they're all in there. It's all there. The difficulty is we don't understand from the 7th century the environment from which it is derived. You have helped us do that, Odon. Thanks so much for putting it into the 7th century and showing us if you're going to understand what the Quran is really saying, for heaven's sakes, go back to the 7th century and see from where it is taking its material. This is nothing new. It's all lifted material. It's borrowed. It's plagiarized. In many respects, it's been bastardized, unfortunately, the final product. But the germ that is there can be understood once you read it for what it is. Stop imposing the standard Islamic narrative onto it. Stop taking sin and imposing onto it. Just read it as you have. You've done this in 6 steps here, showing us how the Judeo-Nazarenes, waiting for Jesus to return, didn't do so, had all the material there, were trained and bringing it down from Aramaic down into Arabic so the Arab speakers could understand it. And then also realizing that when Jesus didn't return, it was for naught. And so it was left just percolating until the Abbasids took a hold of it. And once the Abbasids took a hold of it, they needed not only a man, they needed a book, and they needed a place, the book, the man, and the place. And that's why the book then became almost sacrosanct, put up on a pedestal. And then all the other material surrounding not only who this man was, but also where it was to be read and how it was to be read. And then later on, in the later centuries, it then got lifted up to be almost sacrosanct and almost divine in and of itself. So fascinating. That's a great way to put it, so we can see it's visualized so that we can actually use it. Thanks so much, Odon. This has been a great help. Terrific as usual. Thanks so much, Odon. Great to have you again.
Just another word, Jay. For those who want it, they can download it from my website.
Okay,
of course, they can take a screenshot of your video, but it will be available as a PDF file and as a picture on my website, thegreatsecretofislam.com.
Good to have you back, Odon. Thanks so much for your work. God bless you and your continued work. Get us out this English book so we can understand it, and then so that we can use it. Until next time. This is Odon and Jay, 6,000 miles apart. Over and out.